looking and you're all finished and you're not presentation I have ever given in my whole life. But it gives you an idea of what you can do. And I'm going to, beat on Bill James for not sending me a copy of Herman. But every single one of those guys absolutely thinks their vacuum is the greatest thing that came down the pipe. And JJ from Illinois says, apparently he's up, the kitchen and the living room and everything are upstairs. And he said, Rosie has never fallen down the stairs. She knows that she just whips right on by there. And that's with the radar. And I can remember watching my kids, and it would bump into the table leg, and then it would turn around. Then it'd hit the chair here, and then it would turn around. This does not do that because you've mapped it with the radar. And you can change, you can edit it, you can do a real number on all of the settings for your robots. So everybody needs to ask for one of those as a holiday present. Because remember, they're only $250. And I told Bill about it, and then I forgot to order one. And I emailed him and whined and carried on, and they didn't care. But anyway. So any questions?
Well, I want to start off by saying simply that I was very intrigued by the the smart pressure cooker.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised not to see a connected smart bread maker.
Yeah, I didn't. What I did is I found this wonderful page that had all of these things. I didn't either, except in the Wemo one, there was a caption of this lady in the kitchen, and behind her was a microwave or a convection oven, a toaster, and something else. And it said, you can automate your bread machine. And I'm thinking, then why don't we have a bread machine in this picture? But it specifically said it. And I believe that was the Wemo, because with the Wemo plug, for my lights and here, I have the bulbs. I just come in and say, turn on the family room lights. 4 lights turn on. I go to bed. I say, turn on my bedroom lights. 2 lights come on, bedroom and bathroom. Just for grins, when I'm walking down the hall, I can say, turn on the bathroom light, and it's my versus the, which was dumb of me to do. And the hall bathroom turns on, and I have it timed in my head. If I get to this point, coming through the family room and dining room towards the hall, I know when to say to turn it on. And by the time I turn left into the hall, the light goes on. I'm just having fun with this stuff. I can hello, we can all turn the switches on. But in the family room, I have 3 switches I don't have to worry about. And to get the pole lamp on behind my chair, I'd have to go behind my chair, reach up, and turn it. And I've got the front door lock, and we had a safety presentation, and every time I come in, it's got the soft pad. I take my fingers and I run them across the numbers, because there's an iPhone attachment that is a heat seeking, so to speak, camera, and could tell where your fingers have been, and it'll pick up like how many codes you have. And the first one, they all have a different heat signature as you have done it, and they can get your code to come in the house or at the grocery store when it's a soft pad. So I do that when I come in. Do I need one? I have a key. It's fun.
Indeed.
I had a question, Judy. You didn't mention about the kettle for tea. Is there any smart kettle for making tea?
Say again, please. I know I don't understand your accent very well. I'm in Southern California where we don't have accents.
Sorry, I'm French.
I know.
No, what I was saying
And I
is,
took Spanish in school.
what I was saying is there a smart kettle like to make tea?
For tea making, Judy, to make a
Hi,
hot
Donna.
cup of tea. Hello.
I didn't see I'm sure there's got to be a tea kettle, or I know there's electric tea kettles and stuff like that. But the page that I happened to look at that had everything but the kitchen sink did not have one of those. And since I'm not a tea drinker, I didn't think about that. I only thought of coffee. But I imagine it's out there because it would be just a different liquid thing. Or you could put it in a Wemo plug or any kind of plug and just say to turn it on if it was one that, you know, you plugged into electricity. That's the beauty of the plugs.
Yeah, you could use a smart switched outlet.
Yeah, that's the Wemo plug. Or yeah, now with the with Bill's kitchen lights, he has the ones in the ceiling, the pot lights, and he has changed out the switch. So it's just always on. I have one in the kitchen that I'm going to do something about. I'm going to find something other than the GEC bulb that doesn't fit. Or I could have the electrician come in and put a smart switch in for me that leaves it all on, and then that would work. So there would be two options for that. And you can also put a smart switch in where you can have like a Wemo plug that's flat in the top and then the switch below it. So there's all kinds of things like that out there that it will accommodate however you want to set it up. And again, do you want to call the electrician in to do that for you? Or do you work with electricity and you don't have any problem with changing out stuff like that?
I'm curious about the electric stoves, which way the technology is going. Are they normal electric stoves, or are they induction?
No, you plug them in.
No, the heating.
Oh, they're just regular.
Yeah.
But they have the convention and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
but the
some of them
stove top, you know, they don't have induction yet on them, do they?
No, some of them are married together. Yeah, I just happened to choose that one because I was doing the G. The one thing that the reviewer said, he said, you know, we're used to having our controls in the back. So that takes up a space. So when you put your, you know, your Wi-Fi stove in that doesn't have the controls in the back, he says, you might have a gap between that and your backsplash. He said, so you need to think about what you're going to do with that space because, you know, it's totally flat. Oh, look, the spoon flipped out of my hand and oops, it fell behind the stove and it was full of spaghetti sauce. So he said, there are those kinds of things that you have to take into consideration when you're doing this. And I would recommend if you do this, you go with one brand. LG has them, Samsung does. I just did GE because of Sudsy and Bounce. And, you know, but Bill has everything automated. He's been working on this for a few years and he just really enjoys it. Wise has an upright stick vacuum, you know, like the Shark. It has a hand vacuum that you could use to, you know, get crumbs on the counter and stuff like that. And a lot of DPCUC people are very fond of anything Wise. I was at CES many years ago, and they have a pavilion, which is, oh gosh, if we can get enough funding, we can go to market. And this was bathroom scale. You got out of the shower, you weighed yourself. And when you went into the kitchen, the refrigerator had a smart screen on front and said, you've gained 2 pounds. So to speak, eat accordingly. I have never seen that. I doubt it went to market.
I don't want to see it.
I know it, Donna. And again, they're not necessarily smart faucets, but it's like the soap dispenser. You just put your hand there and the water comes out. And they're smart bathrooms. I can't remember who has the smart bathroom, but I saw that up at CES too, and my gosh, I mean, it was several $100s for the faucet. And all this is interesting. And my kids are in their early 50s. And we had this discussion years ago when one of them was going to buy a refrigerator. And even then, in their late 40s, they figured to spend that much money, they would probably never get their money's worth. And so when they just bought one, but I love it because Stacy's sister-in-law has one. And I'm going to go see her Halloween decorations. So I'm going to get to see one in person. Go figure. They've got money, so that's it. But again, like I say, I'm fond of the dishwasher. I don't have hardly any dishes to wash. It's just me and the cats. But it just looks way cool. So is anybody going to go forward and do anything?
Well, I have all my stuff connected up to my, I call her A-Lady device, so she doesn't listen
You
in.
got it.
And I am looking at getting more switched outlets.
Okay.
There's as well as some switched bulbs. I'm putting in more of them, and I'm thinking of putting in the color shifting bulbs since Halloween is right around the corner. I want to be able to light up the house in colors.
Well, that's what Bill has. He has the lights, the coach lights, but he has his Philips Hue lights out there. Christmas, Halloween, Easter, whatever. And like I say, he can be down in Costa Rica and he can change them out. So it looks like, oh, there is somebody home there, because he doesn't ever park. He parks both his cars in the garage. Mine are sitting in the driveway. So, whether he's home or there, people aren't going to know. And so he changes, and he'll change the sequence of when the lights come on in the house.
Hey,
And
Peter.
he's down in Costa Rica.
Hey, Peter.
I know he's no. I didn't think to send him the Zoom link until I was taking one last look to see. But when he takes the picture with his smartphone, it takes a long time to get from Oklahoma City to California for some reason. But so there's all kinds of security. At one of our Wednesday workshops, somebody talked about a little TV, but it's just a little square like this, and you could set it up with your home automation stuff. And at night you can turn it on and it actually looks like somebody's in the room watching television. And it's something that it's about this big, and it's not, Wi-Fi or anything. It's just, you plug, but if you plugged it into a Wemo or whatever plug that Peter uses, you could very easily control it that way. And it's just small, and for some reason it works, and everybody went, oh gosh, let me write that down. I want to get one of those. And it was like under $20 or $25. So what kind of switches and things do you use, Peter?
I just have I have Amazon's switched outlets,
Okay.
and they mostly go to bulbs that for one reason or another, I can't use a smart bulb.
Well,
And the rest are smart bulbs.
okay. I chose GE because I could buy them locally. If I needed another, and it was interesting because when I went to Lowe's and I'm looking and I'm not seeing anything, and there was this guy and I said, hi, where are your smart bulbs? And I got a lecture on why I should not be doing that. He was totally anti anything smart. And I'm going to myself, you've got to be kidding. Well, they were not in the light bulb department. They were across the store. There was a special area by the bathroom stuff. And I'm going, you got to be. So I needed some more. And I went up there and I went to the special section. Not there. Went to the light bulb department, and here's that guy again. Couldn't find him. I got the exact same lecture. And I'm thinking, does anybody in management know that this guy is turning off people from buying these things? And the ladder, the guy that had walked with me from the special section pulled the ladder. There were 3 boxes down there. I bought them all just in case they weren't gonna handle them anymore. And I slowly but surely have used all of them, 2 per box.
Yep.
But I couldn't believe him. I'm thinking, and he was an old guy. I'm an old lady, but hey, you know,
I did all my purchases through Amazon.
yeah. Well, it's amazing that how much you can buy from them. But they're not always the least expensive. Home Depot beat them a couple of times on prices. But you know, your shipping's free. They got videos for everything to show you how to put your appliances in, your refrigerator and all that good kind of stuff, and set them up.
Yes, indeed.
I have a variety of things plugged in. I love them, light bulbs and all that. At my front door and back door, I've got motion sensing bulbs as well, and come on all the time. There's one problem with those though, is if you're expecting somebody and you want the light on so that they can find the house, the light goes, you have to stand there and keep moving.
Yeah, I've got 4 dawn to dusk, and they work like clockwork.
Yep.
When it starts getting dark, the porch, which is covered, so to speak, it comes on, and then the 2 in the garage. Then I have one over my side door to my garage. And old fashioned, but hey, that works for me. And because I'd rather have those on than the motion.
Well, I like the motion too, because people don't know whether it's you turned it on or, and because there's the interaction part of it, but.
Well, I have a light in the living room and it's Wii mode, and I can turn it on at different times. And so it changes, and sometimes I leave it on really late. I go to bed at 2 or 3 in the morning, so I'll leave it on. And other times I'll, turn it off at 10 o'clock. So just rotate it around. And like I said, it's just fun. I don't need any of this, but it's way cool. And I'm bound and determined to get my Google friend over here to get to the point where he's going to turn the TV on. He can turn it off and he can turn the sound up. But there is this stupid commercial with the G word in it. And every time the lady says, and that she doesn't even say hey or hi. She just says, my buddy here turns himself down, turns the TV down because he thinks I'm going to tell him to do something. And it's difficult to get him to turn the sound back up because he will say, I'm sorry, it only goes to 10. Well, that's his sound, not the TV sound. So I've been working with him, and the last few times he zipped it right back up where it was supposed to go.
I have a robotic vacuum. It's one of the early ones that came out, and I found that it's not as good as doing it yourself, but it's a pretty good outfit that on the days when I wasn't feeling well, it did the vacuuming for me and was passable.
Yeah. Well, and both of my daughters, theirs broke. They
Yeah,
that
mine did too.
usually lasts for years, but theirs didn't. And then they just went back to, one of them bought a really expensive canister vacuum, and the other one likes the Dyson. Expensive. Okay, I have a Hoover self-propelled. That's my automation. It's self-propelled.
I'm going to mention a kind of automation that kind of popped into everybody's house here in Ontario involuntarily, and that was the electrical meters, because they do time of day, and they change the amount you're charged depending on the weekend. Well, I hope they are doing it correctly. Nobody ever knows. I don't know if they do daylight savings. You just have to trust it. And I guess somebody comes along, drives by in a car and picks up the radio frequency signal, and they've got the score on your electrical usage. I'm just wondering how easy it is for anybody to come along and see if you're at home, because or on vacation because you're not using very much electricity. And they wanted to do that with our water meter as well. And I kind of said, no, you're not coming in. Keep sending me the chart that I fill, you know, I put in the number myself and then I call it in on the phone, how much water I've used. And the gas guy still comes around and I guess he uses a camera, or, you know, to take the reading off the gas meter. So oh, and I understand too that when Ontario installed these so-called smart meters, that it was a company in Texas that convinced them to do so, and it cost well over $1 billion to change all of these things. I don't know where the savings are coming from. I don't believe there were any.
And you know
Okay.
how well the Texas takes care of their utilities down there. Sarcasm.
Oh, very true,
that.
very true. Yeah.
We have that for our Edison, and we could opt in. They get it, but we can opt in to check our own stuff. We could figure out, oh my gosh, why is my electric bill so high this month? Oh, I had everything going between 4 and 9 p.m. and that's peak time. Well, you know, I can remember that. And, you know, that's our peak time. But again, our electricity went up and my bill was over $300. And I, you know, as I picked myself off the floor, because it's never even been 200, but we got a rate change. And it was over 100 many, many days in a row. So the AC was going, but my AC is too big for my house. It would do the garage too. So it turns on and it turns off very quickly because it cools it. But I'm in their summer rebate program and I saved $60, and which would have been, my bill would have been $400. The next month, my bill was $200 and change, and I saved $82. And I can't convince my family that they need to get that because they're happy with paying $600 a month because they have a pool, and they've never turned my electricity off. I have a Honeywell thermostat, a Wi-Fi thermostat. I tried the what is it, Ring, and be aware of your password that you put together. I have this way cool. Nobody could ever get into it, but you try setting up your thermostat where you have to move everything around, and then it's a capital, and then it's a number. And I mean, I decided because if you goofed it up, you had to start over again. And so I thought, you know, I'm not going to do this. So I got a Honeywell, which is what I had before, and it keeps track of it for me. It sends me a report every single month and says, this is when you were using it. You know, this was the time. This is what you used last month, the month before that. And it takes good care of me. And it's good to see. I don't have anything like that for my gas meter. And to get the
Judy,
gas,
why don't you put solar on? For your electric?
because my house is 54 years old. Who knows if the roof would take care of it. And I already have a relatively new roof because of the last fire that went by.
Well, with a brand new roof, the solar can be attached to a brand new roof without a problem.
I have one kid who put that on and he pays the bills. She used to, he does now. She's a teacher who's teaching all the time. And at the end of the month, the Edison company sent him a bill for $300. And he didn't get off scot-free. He thought, I have solar. I don't have to pay anything. So now he does pay every single month to SCE. And so much for having solar. I'm sure it's the kind of plan that you get, but they have a 2-story house. And he was really surprised when they got that $300 bill in December and said, ante up, folks. But again, please make sure you don't make your password so convoluted that it turns into a pain. And make sure that whatever you've got, you get reports. Like, you know, I get for my, from the thermostat. That I really appreciate that. Lets me know where I've gone wrong that particular month, and maybe I'll want to adjust things the following month. And I can get that from the Edison company also. They will send us the same kind of thing.
Right.
Anything else? Anybody else have some home automation they would like to share? Cal, you unmuted yourself, so are you going to share something?
Yes, I was going to offer up to Dan that we can pay 610 million for an election that wasn't really needed to. So
Oh,
$1 billion in smart meters is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, we just spent a few million on our recall, which everybody knew that it was not gonna, he wasn't gonna be recalled, but that came right out of the taxpayer profit.
Yeah.
And the folks that started it were, nobody lived in California that started it. And unfortunate in this day and age.
And here is my home automation 90s style.
Okay,
And all it is just a remote controlled switch. The house I got into was inappropriately wired. I needed some switched outlets. So rather than calling an electrician, I just went, so I think it was $20 for 3 of these. And I just take the remote to the door. When I leave, everything goes off, or if I'm coming in, everything goes on. I've got 2 lights and a fan connected to that group, and then I've got 3 other independent remote switches that I was not going to rewire.
so what brand is that? No,
I don't know. It's some Chinese knockoff or Taiwanese or something. There's really no brand on it.
So, and
It's similar to X10, but it's not.
Just a second.
Copy it over to.
got it. The way Wi-Fi started out a gazillion years ago.
Yeah.
Pure, let's put it that way, pure.
I know some of our members have looked at the Wi-Fi, smart Wi-Fi, but this is working for me. So
Hey, it's whatever works. Like I say, I don't need anything that I have. It's just fun.
I'm concerned about the complexity of the apps all the time.
Well, and if you have different apps for a gazillion things, you got to remember how all of that works. So like with the GE stuff, that's that you get one app, so to speak, because it has something called Smart HQ, and they can all, it's going to be the same.
Yes.
And we are getting on in age, and the easier we make things, the better off we are.
I don't need added complexity in my life.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because I got my door. I'm very happy with using my remote to my garage door. It works for me. I don't need to, but hey, Bill's got his, and when he takes off and he thinks, oh my gosh, I wonder if I close my garage door, get the phone out, check it out. So it all depends on how much you want to make your life easier and really trouble-free.
No, I lost my audio on the computer I was using in the other room, and now I'm sitting in Anne's chair.
Oh, I see.
She's on Jam Kazam right now and playing with bluegrass with somebody down in Nashville. But I wasn't quite finished. Yep. Well, actually, we have a friend here, Saskia Tompkins, with her fiddle. She's quite a fiddle player. Cool. And they're doing that now, but I'll tell her what's going on with this meeting. But I wanted to add one more thing to the hydro situation. We in Ontario pay an average of 13 cents per kilowatt hour, but at the low rate it's 8 cents, and at the highest it's about 17 cents, I think, just for comparison purposes, per kilowatt hour. 17 per kilowatt hour in the high price at time, and 8 at night.
That's like less than we pay.
I'm sure it is.
Oh,
but lots of hydro and nuclear around here.
Yeah, we don't have any nuke stuff at all anywhere close. We do have wind up in the valley up from me.
Yeah, and that's expensive. So is solar. It's all expensive electricity.
I went one time when I went to CES, you go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, and then you go on the flat and you come to Nevada, and I looked to the right and there was this huge windmill farm. It hadn't been there the year before. And I'm going, really? Because it was in California and we usually can't get stuff done that fast. But it was massive, and I'm thinking, and it was out totally in the middle of nowhere where the wind blows all the time. And I thought, what a perfect place to have one. I wonder where it services, because there was nothing around except into Nevada. It was Primm, and then there, another little town, and then you got to Las Vegas and Henderson. But I thought, okay, fine. But one of the wise things is a sprinkler. So of course, Bill has automated sprinklers. And I love it because his sprinklers were already automated.
Yeah.
But he couldn't control them by his phone. And they are tied into NOAA. So when it rains, turns it off automatically, never to water. And the minute it stops and it seems it should water, it turns it on all by itself, or whatever routine he set up. We have those here. And the city was giving them away years ago. And my son was responsible for all the watering setup and everything at our huge central park. And he thought they were the pits. I said, should I get one? He goes, no. And again, we don't get any rain anyway here. We're supposed to get 0.64 inches in October, and we are not going to even get 0.01.
Well, could you tell us?
And it's in the ground. And again, it's controlled. When your ground gets dry, it says it's time to water and stuff like that. And so I have one that, I have like 11 stations. I have over a third of an acre. And but he's got, and of course the sprinkler has a name. His light out front, and he has all kinds of, wise lights. And the light out front is, oh shoot. It's the lady's name who lived across the street from in Bewitched, who was nosy and knew everything that was going on.
Oh, Miss Kravitz.
Gladys Kravitz.
Gladys, yes, that light is named Gladys. So when he has his phone, he has Gladys and Herman, and the whole, again, he's having fun with everything too.
On the subject of water, away from electricity, I found it interesting that you said the river had dried up, yet you seem to have municipal water. We have no problem here. We hardly ever get a request not to use water. It can happen if I guess the filtration system can't keep up. But because it comes out of Lake Ontario or one of the rivers, nearby, there's always water here in Ontario. Never any shortage. What's going on with you?
We have well water. The only problem is we have a munitions factory that dates back to World War I. Who knew that when one moved up here from the beach? And they just polluted the ground, and they've cleaned it up. They scrape X number of inches off, take it to bins, spread it out, put these little bugs in that they eat everything up. They put plastic on the top. And when all the stuff is gone, they put it right back where it came from. But there's places on the property, it's right in the middle of the valley that can never, it's called Burn Canyon, and it's where they threw everything in a canyon. It could
Sounds like right from that movie.
Yeah.
Remember the lady
And
who
so some of the
looked
wells
into
have been contaminated. So we have well water and it's processed, but we get it through the aqueduct. Our water comes from the aqueduct that runs the state through the state of California. We get it from the snowpack and from a lake out of state.
Yeah.
And that's where, and it rains like crazy apparently in Oklahoma, but they get their water from some lake out of state too. Yeah, that's where it is. And if we get to go into a drought.
That's not the one from Lake Havasu, is it?
No.
No? Oh,
New
okay.
Mexico.
No, because if we did, we'd really be up a creek because, Lake Mead is down. So,
Oh, is it down quite a bit?
oh, like crazy. And we
Oh,
have
really?
something
Oh, Lake
called
Mead.
Castaic and Pyramid, and those are
Castaic.
our holding basins for the water that comes down the
Mhm.
aqueduct. And then they blend the aqueduct with our kind of crappy well water, and it comes out okay.
Yeah,
But
I
no,
remember them talking about that going over to LA or somewhere anyways, but
yeah,
yeah.
you know, but when we had our drought, if you were odd, you could, 18727, you could water Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you were even, you watered Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I still do that. A lot of people were, I thought I'll do my part, but as long as it stays green, I'm happy. But we've apparently got water saved. Our water agency has saved water somewhere. But people say don't ever drink the well water. And I don't make my coffee with it because it's got cancer causing stuff in it. And do they really get it all taken care of? Who knows? So we all have our problems with stuff like that.
Actually, I have to admit, the idea of a smart garage door opener started to sound interesting.
There you go.
I'll have to look into that.
I only open my garage when I have to get in it from the driveway because I park my cars in the driveway. There's no risk. I've got all my
What do you mean? What do you mean?
school stuff
You
in
mean,
there.
you mean you could put cars in the garage?
Yeah, some people
Oh,
do.
this is a crazy notion. This is a crazy notion. Stop this crazy talk.
Your cars
Everyone
can
knows
power
that
your house.
garages are used to hold stuff.
I thought it was called a car hold, wasn't it?
We've lived here for 45 years and nobody's ever parked a car in the driveway. I mean, in the garage. At one time there were 5 cars, 2 in the driveway and 3 in front of the house.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, the next time, okay, you guys, at your next meeting, you are going to ask Peter if he has gotten his garage door opener, okay?
Oh, no, I'm not in a rush. I'd have to do my research first.
Okay, well, get it on Amazon.
Hey, Peter,
Yes.
it's Brian here. You can buy a thing on Amazon for about 25 or 30 bucks and you can convert your regular garage door opener to a smart one.
Really?
That'd be great. Yeah.
I
What I would
actually
really like
built
to
one.
know, though, is the ability to know if it's opened or not.
Yes, they have sensors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like 30 bucks. It's got
Mhm.
open and closed sensors, and plus it uses a module for Wi-Fi. And you just hook it, just like hooking up an additional push button in your garage to make it open, like an electrical one. You just hook it up there. It takes literally 10 minutes to install.
Oh, I'll have to look into that.
They're on Amazon, like I think they're about 30 bucks.
That
There
sounds
you
cool.
go.
I'll have to look it up.
That's why we have these meetings,
Yes, indeed.
so we can share important information like that.
And
No.
Judy,
Yes.
one thing you kept talking about was Wise. We don't have that in Canada.
It's in San Jose.
No, I know that, but I'm saying like we don't have the ability to buy that stuff here.
Oh,
We've got to go
sorry.
through like some Home Depot does have some of this stuff. And they've been trying to open a Canadian office for the last 3 years, but since COVID hit, everything's on hold. But I have some Wise products and I really love them too. They're really cheap. The cameras are fantastic. I have the doorbell, which you can get at Home Depot here.
Yeah,
It works great. The stuff works great and it's really inexpensive.
they were 3 or 4 kids that worked at Amazon. And one of them wanted to buy a camera and he thought they were way too expensive. So it was like, why don't we start our own company?
I know I watched the video.
And it was a GoFundMe type thing. And I got the first camera. It's out of over the front door. And they went from there. And now they really don't have to do that anymore. But I had the Wise bulbs on there and I need to take that statement off because they went to the color ones. And their color bulbs are 20 bucks. Well, that kind of is about the hue color ones are not too much more expensive than that. And when I was talking to Bill, because he's enamored, he has their scale, their hand back, their this, what else? He just bought something else and he hasn't set it up yet. And I said, you can't find the plain one. And I thought, maybe they're not going to get that, have that anymore. But it was interesting. Some of the stuff I looked up at Amazon, if you read the fine print, I'd say, oh, that looks good. It would say, we don't know if we're ever going to get this again. And I'm thinking, okay, fine. Thanks for putting that up there.
for us here in Canada, if you're looking for those colored bulbs, Costco, they're 3 for 28. And you screw them into any socket and it's a smart bulb. You program and away you go. And the good thing about them is you can do the dawn to dusk thing too. So every night at dusk, it'll turn on your light. And you can turn it on to any intensity or any color.
And what's the name?
They're from Costco. I do not know the name brand. They use CE Smart stuff. I don't know what it is, but there's a package of 3 here in Canada. And I bought a few of them and they work quite well.
I've got them as well.
Good to know, because that's not something I would ever look for when I go to Costco.
They have the switches too, the dimmers and stuff. I'm using those. They work well and they're relatively cheap.
We'll call that inexpensive, okay?
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's a good word.
They're not cheap. We just buy things that are inexpensive.
Well, think about Costco. If you don't like them, you can bring them back too,
Oh, I know, forever.
right? So
It's not like buying at Best Buy. That Best Buy is where Bill got his Sudsy and Bounce. And they don't have those at Home Depot. They have the lesser level down, I think. But that's good to know. So the next time I go to Costco, I'm gonna, zip around the store and see where that kind of stuff is.
They use the Globe app for turning them on and off.
that's what it is, Globe. You're right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
But it
And
works well.
There's
It
another
probably
one,
won't
Fight.
show up. No.
Fight Electric.
That would be fun.
Yep.
Cool.
Globe can hook up to the Alexas as well.
Yep.
So what else does other people do with their home automation that they have set up that makes their life easier?
I turn lights on and off.
I know. It's so silly.
I have a radio station. I play it 2 times in the morning for some trivia questions.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy I have a hub in my bedroom too. It's a smaller one. And it's interesting because I have to cover it up because it shines. I'm a person who sleeps on the right side of my body. And there I am looking at it. I thought, oh, good choice, Judy. But it's just, fun to have them, play the music for me and all that good kind of stuff and set the alarm. And I have this stupid alarm tone set now that I'm going to have to go through and, use so much. When it blasted me out of bed this morning for an 8 o'clock meeting, I'm going, you got to be kidding. And again, it's just fun.
Yeah. I have the little Google Home and I'm always surprised how well it sounds considering it's such a small little speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the same thing, crystal clear. I listen to jazz all the time on it. I have my favorite, words to tell him, and he plays what I ask, and it works out really well. And I'm thinking, and the thing is I've never been able to get radio reception up here. If you can get one station, and you get in the summertime, you get the Ventura station.
Right.
And in the wintertime, you get the one up in Antelope Valley that's up north. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Now you can get it from anywhere in the world. Eh?
Yeah, it used to be totally quiet, but now I got my music. I got my music when I wake up. It's way cool.
Yeah. I find the tone on the Alexa is a little bit nicer, but the sound is a little clearer on Google. So
Yeah.
So
And when I got my Amazon device hooked up for the first time, the first command I gave it was to play Inagata da Vida.
Oh yeah.
And it played the whole 17-minute song.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
If you want to change the sound, you can see behind me, I've got a 1920s speaker.
Mhm.
And I took an Amazon Alexa and I shoved it in it. And it operates from in there, and it changes sound.
Oh really?
Very good.
That is a most noteworthy way of amplifying the sound passively.
Yeah.
Yes, and it looks like I've got an antique radio playing.
Yeah.
What I've been looking at is one of those doorbells, but I don't want to pay a fee. So I've been looking also at security systems. And so I'm going to cobble something up, but I haven't done it all yet. I've got a couple cameras here and there. But
Hey, Robert,
yep.
Home Depot, buy the Wise doorbell.
Yeah,
You don't have to sign up for their cloud stuff. You get free cloud for 3 days or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And it's $59.
yeah.
Oh, and will it show? So what will it show me on my app? Who's at the door?
Absolutely.
Oh,
And
so
if you ring the doorbell, it activates. And what it does is it records everything.
Mhm.
And then when there's motion, it steps it back 2 seconds, and then it moves it forward like 30 seconds for whatever the duration is. So you see who's coming in.
So what does it do with the pay versus the non-pay?
The pay, you get longer duration, I believe, to keep your stuff.
Okay.
And I think you get, there's some other stuff, but there's not a huge significance. If you look at the Wise page, it shows you the differences.
Okay.
And the service, you buy it on sale, it's only $1 a month. Like, it's cheap, not like Ring, where it's like $6 a month, right?
But I'm really cheap.
Well, then you just buy, get it with the free service, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It will work. I think it holds everything for 3 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only disadvantage is there's no, any of the low cost stuff does not have an SD card, so it doesn't locally store it.
Is there a way of setting them up? I've got my own server, like I've got a Synology disk station. Is there a way of putting it through there? Like
I would expect there is.
Yeah.
I haven't done that, but like if you got a Synology server, don't you have to pay for that service?
Nope.
See,
Nope.
mine, I only get 1 camera or something like that.
Yes, you have to pay for additional cameras.
Yes.
But I'm wondering, I've been looking to see if there's an app that somehow I can send to the Synology without paying.
Yeah, that's
Like
something
this
you have
one-
to figure out.
This one in the front window, you can't see it, but in the front window there, it's plugged into my Synology.
Yeah. It's just something to look at.
Yeah, okay, I'll check it out, thanks.
Wise has a lot of stuff, and I have a $229 lock. I have a Yale, like August Yale, $229. And when it breaks, my oldest daughter, theirs already went south. I have no clue why. And mine works just fine. And I will get something like what Brian was talking about. Wise has don't they have a whole security system now, as the Simply Safe does? But I have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, because when I was putting my stuff together, that stuff wasn't out there. And I think what this is good for seniors is we can all stay at home longer, which is how Bill looks at everything. He's not planning on going anyplace. And with all this home automation, it just makes us, as we age, it makes it easier for us to just stay here and everything gets done for us, so to speak.
Mhm. Awesome.
I have a question for you, Judy. And again, I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm just curious. If your system breaks down, can you still operate your appliances manually?
A lot of them you can. Like I said, my Wi-Fi goes down all the time. Yeah, well, it's Spectrum, and I go dead in the water though with my stuff. I can still get in and out of the door just fine. I have a key, but I have no phone. I have nothing. My lights don't turn on. I have to turn them off and then turn them on. And so with that, I'm totally dead in the water, and that happens with Idiot Spectrum occasionally. So I don't know whether you can. It's like the electric stove is plugged in, your microwave is plugged in. So I would have to assume anything that's plugged in, you could use.
Okay. Now, the other thing I was going to mention, I guess I didn't hear too much about it. They were talking about electric lighting. You've met my friend Mo, who's involved with electronics in one of our meetings, or more than one of our meetings. He has his whole house wired to the extent that you don't bother to flip a switch to turn the lights on. When you walk into a room, the lights go on. And if you are not used to that, you aren't aware of it, it's kind of weird when you walk into a washroom and you're looking for the light switch and all of a sudden, poof, it opens up. I have another situation though, that I'm very concerned about security and what can happen when the system fails, which is sort of leading from the first item I was talking about. I'll give you an example now. One of my sons has his house set up with a very elaborate security system. It's hooked up to the Wi-Fi system in his home. The Wi-Fi system in his home comes in by cable to start off with, and then the whole system becomes operational once the cable is in the home. And what happened was there was some construction going on in his neighborhood. They were ripping up the roads. And when they were ripping up the roads, because they had to get to access to various other things, they ripped up the lower part of the local residents' driveways, which they repaved afterwards. And one day he called me because his kids were supposed to be home from school earlier than when he comes home from work. And he called me, he says, we got a problem. I don't know if somebody's broken into the house, because he wasn't aware of what had happened. And he says, I want you to go over to the house in 15 or 20 minutes, make sure the kids are there and everything else. His house is close to mine. And he says, if you don't call me back 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to call the police to check it out, because he thought maybe there was a break-in. So I said, hold on, just relax. I'll be there within 15 minutes, then I'll call you and I'll let you know where we stand. So I went there. And when I first looked around, I checked the house and everything else. And then I noticed the construction and I said, oh, they must have busted the cable. So I went over and asked one of the fellows, this is kind of a cute thing. And I looked at them and I said to them, they were sitting, taking a coffee break, sitting on stools that they had brought with them. They were sitting on his driveway. And I said to one of the fellows, I said, I have a suspicion, I'm not sure, but did you guys cut the cable? One of them looks at the other and the others, and they said to each of them, no, they all answered, no, we didn't cut the cable. Then one of the guys says, no, we didn't cut the cable. The machine cut the cable. So that was the starting point. Yes, they did cut the cable. And when I checked in the house where the source was coming in, I checked and I noticed that, the cable service was gone.
God.
Now, the question is, if somebody knows where the location of that cable is and they wanted to rob the house, they could cut the cable and he's lost. It's finished. And that's what concerns me, that everybody's so reliant upon all of this stuff. He's got his thermostat connected, just like you folks are talking and everything else, and he can control it from work. Now, I don't know what they do down in the States, but some people up here, either it's automated to go on and off at a certain time, but let's say that if you're out of the house most of the time and it's a very cold day, you could have the temperature drop down a few degrees, so it saves fuel. And then just before you're going to be coming home, you turn the heating on, like there's a time set that the heating will come back on. That stuff, if everything goes at one time, it just scares me, because you're too reliant on a system that can break down. That's
Lloyd, some of the commercial alarm systems have got a cellular backup.
Yeah.
So if the Wi-Fi or the cable's damaged, it can report through cellular.
And if my door has a key, and when we were chatting with a group down in Florida, this gal said, they had a hurricane come through and her door and her garage were both automated. She could not get into either one of them. I have a side door in my garage. I've got a key. It's just a plain old ordinary key. But for my front door, I bought a lock with a key. And so that we tell people, if you're going to buy a lock, make sure you've got a key that you can put on your keychain, just in case what you said. And if the Wi-Fi goes down, it does not unlock. It stays locked all by itself. But she said, I had just arrived from up north, couldn't get in my house. And so the caveat is, make sure your lock has a key.
But you're right, Lloyd. That is all they have to do is a pair of these where the cable line from Rogers goes into the box, and that's it. The whole house is shut down. But that now, like you said, they are coming with the cellular. But if you have a system that's 5 years old, or more, yeah.
Well, when I had a security system in the house about 5 years ago, it was cellular.
Oh, okay.
Or
Yeah,
phone.
It didn't use the Wi-Fi. It didn't use any of that junk. It was all cellular.
And if you're
So
concerned about the
the
recording,
entire cable and internet could go down, and I did not lose my security system.
and if you're concerned about the recording ability, you can have, like, all my stuff's plugged into battery backup.
Mhm.
And if you really want to go I have generators. I don't have them on set up, but you could have it set into a generator to top up the battery if necessary. And you store the video on your own system.
Mhm.
It
I have
isn't-
battery backup.
Yep.
Because Spectrum stuff goes down all the time.
Yep.
And I move from a laptop to a desktop, and I'll be darned if it's gonna fry.
Mhm. Yep.
And the Edison company too, they shut us down at the drop of a hat. I've been evacuated a gazillion times because of that. I'm at the 3 blocks from the end of the evac zone, and they don't want, one of their lines to start a fire because the wind is blowing so hard and it falls in the dryness. And so I get evacuated all the time, and they say we're going to turn it off, but they don't tell you when, and then boom, it's gone. And I thought, okay with my laptop, but not this new one.
Awesome. Well, that's been a very wonderful, I want to thank you for a fantastic talk. You covered a lot of ground. That was really great. And we've had a really wonderful and very lively discussion.
Mhm.
Gotta get a vacuum.
You
I
do.
gotta get a
Now I
vacuum.
need a programmable vacuum, an enhanced garage door, and a kettle. I think I'll just get one of the switched outlets and plug my normal kettle into that.
Well, that's the thing. If you had a Wemo, you just plug the Wemo in to wherever in your kitchen and plug the kettle into it. That's how my light in the garage works. That's how the light right over here works. Otherwise, it's this.
I'd probably get the Amazon equivalent, but I hear you.
Right. And like I said, I got the ones that were like this, and with my surge protectors, it doesn't take up a whole, because it goes this way and it doesn't take up a whole bunch of room.
Excellent.
I tried to keep it as simple as I possibly could.
Simple is great. Awesome. Well done.
Are you guys ever going to have you had a Bob G security presentation?
I don't remember one.
You need to schedule one. His security presentations are, as they say, fun and informative. I'm going to talk about reports for DPCUC. You guys, all your officers get one, but you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But I got thank yous from some of the people. He presented 19 presentations up to today. And I have him scheduled for doing almost 30 in as Cybersecurity Awareness Month. They have taken away the word national. And I say fun and informative. And it is. If you could have a security presentation, who could you believe that it would be a fun? But it is. And I think, are you aware that Avast has been and Norton are going to become one company? And the president of Avast, who is located in Prague, is going to be the operating officer, and he's going to spend his time between Prague and Tempe, Arizona. Good luck to him with the weather changes. We don't know what's going to happen with CCleaner or any of the Piriform programs, because Norton has its own utility program. So all that, but Norton always wants to be the be all end all to everything, and there are so many people that hate Norton. It's pathetic, but I don't think the Prague people knew that. And they want to be able to say they are covering more people in the world, because right now that's Avast, because of a Avast free program. But his presentations, he doesn't get paid for it. He's a volunteer, just like we are with our groups. When he traveled, Avast paid his to and from and hotel and food, and he could take his wife with him, but He gives presentations from New Mexico. And I always think I'm up to date on everything, and he's always got something that, you know, is new. And when he would come to my group, I'd move over to the side and I would tell them, because I knew what he was presenting about. I would keep them up to date, but by golly, if Bob said it, it was gospel. If Judy said it, it wasn't. And he'd turn to me and just go smirk, and we'd be laughing at each other because he knew that was going to happen every time he did. But I encourage you to get in touch with me. I'm Taylour at apcuc.org, and let me know when you would like to schedule his presentation. And the kudos are really good from the ones he has given, and fun has come into it, other than me saying that. And we do have our speakers bureau list. We have well over 100 unique presentations on anything almost your little heart desires, except this home automation that I put together. North Texas asked for one on accessibility, so I put one together on that for them. And Walk Wisconsin group asked for one on Facebook security because the president felt their members didn't know anything about security. So I put one together for that. Walk wanted to know about Google. So Bill put an everything Google presentation, and I've culled it into a teaching presentation because I taught tech classes for 20 plus years to adults. And mine is, it's not always about Google it. It's about more than Google it. So we got a lot of stuff up there that you guys can take advantage of.
Awesome.
And it's APC.
I hope you've been taking notes, Fred.
It's apcuc2.org, and on the website, it's by category. But if you click on the PDF file, you look at it my way, which is by speaker. And each speaker has the laundry list of things that we do. And we have our Wednesday workshops. We have at least three a month. The third Wednesday is always Linux. And of course, I have to go to every one of them, but it's amazing how much I know about Linux. I can answer questions coherently, even though I don't use it. I think Cal comes to those. And this month we did interesting one last time, this one, and then we're doing Windows 11 the last Wednesday of the month. And I started those in May of 2022 because I figured APCUG needed to offer its members more because we were all stuck at home and we're all technology people, so it gives us something to do. Except I have to be at every single one of them, as does John Kennedy. He's the moderator, and Bill does the Zoom help. Love to have you attend. I send an email the first of the month out to all of the officers and ask them to forward it to the members. So hopefully Lloyd and Peter
And Hugh.
forward those. And join us. As I call them warts and all, because there are no videos. We just give presentations, and if we screw up, it's warts and all.
Got it. Okay.
That's my sales pitch for APCUG.
Thank
you,
again
Judy.
very much.
Thank you for having me.
Let's give everyone a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's this. Oh, God. Mute yourself, okay?
Thank you.
Hugh has his
Thank you.
hand. Is that a raised hand, Hugh?
No, it's a single-handed clap.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
There you go.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you again.
Thank you.